Hello, welcome to this new video. Today we will be doing with the second part of organism and population. Last class we did with first part. If you had not seen the video, you may go and check it out. Now see, in the second part, let's first start the class with a question. Okay, the question says if to a field of 100 rose plant 20 new plants germinated in the year, then finds its natality. Now what is natality? Natality is the number of live birth. Okay, now they are telling us that 20 new plants are generated or germinated, sorry, not generated, it's germinated in the current year. So how many new plants? 20 upon what was the initial number of plants? 100 into 100. Okay, so it is equal to 20%. Okay, it is equal to 20%. So now let's move to the next part. It says to find out about, sorry, it will be for mortality, not natality. It will be for mortality. Mortality. Okay, now see, the question says if two fishes died in an aquarium of 10 fishes, finds its mortality. Now what we will do, two fishes died. Okay, how many died? Two fish died. Okay, total number of fish कितना है? 10 fish है. तो what we will write, mortality equal to 2 upon 10 into 100. So it is how much? It will be 20% again. So here 20% natality means 20% new added on, and here 20% mortality means 20% omitted out, or 20% is dead. Okay, now so this kind of little questions can come up in your upcoming CBSE as well as in NEET examinations as well. Okay, now let's move to the next part. See, next we will talk of age pyramid. Now population, if we study population, the very important thing we need to know is the current age of that population. Okay, whether the population is having more people from the pre-reproductive age or from the post-reproductive age or from the reproductive age group. Now what do you mean by this pre-reproductive, post-reproductive and reproductive? Pre-reproductive age groups are those age groups, especially see it is the age group between 0 to 15 years. Okay, means just before the start of, just before or at the start of puberty. Okay, they are at the verge of puberty, so they will start having puberty, and thus they are having puberty and they will have their sexual organs matured, and so they can fall in the next group, that is the reproductive age group. Next group is our reproductive age group 1, the group who is capable of reproduction. Okay, and the last one is greater than 45 years age group, which are the post reproductive age groups. Okay, so we need to know how many individuals of a population belongs to either of these three groups. Okay, to know the future of the फ्यूचर पॉपुलेशन. देखिए फ्यूचर पॉपुलेशन कैसा होगा, वेदर द पॉपुलेशन विल डिक्रीज और वेदर द पॉपुलेशन विल इंक्रीज, और व्हाट is going to happen with it. Okay, now next, so what is age pyramid? It depicts the age of the given population at a particular time. एक टाइम में population का age कितना होगा, ये अगर पता करना है तो we need to find out the age, we need to look at the age pyramid. Okay, now it also helps us to predict the future growth of population. ठीक है, now future growth of population माने what will happen in the near future. नियर फ्यूचर पॉपुलेशन का ग्रोथ कैसा रहेगा, वेदर इट विल बी स्टिल ऑन, इट विल एक्सपैंड, और वेदर इट विल वेट और हॉल्ट टू अ सर्टेन लेवल, और वेदर इट विल डिक्लाइन. ठीक है, नाउ 3 levels as we discussed. Now say shape of age pyramid reflect the status of population. Definitely, see, shape means how many shapes we are basically having 3 category. First one is growing. Growing means here the population is growing, means from 1 to it is forming 4, 4 to it is getting 8, 8 to 16. So this is growing stage, growing population. Okay, just like India. Okay, we have a growing population. Okay, now what does growing population means? Keep in mind, in case of growing population, or before that also, remember this thing, in an age pyramid the bottom is the the bottom of the pyramid is the one is the individuals who are in the pre-reproductive age. Okay, in every age pyramid. Okay, the bottom will be occupied by the pre-reproductive age group. Okay, and above the pre-reproductive there will be our reproductive age group. Okay, now further above it will be our post reproductive age group. Okay, now this is the pattern. Okay, now if in case of growing age pyramid the pre-reproductive age group is much more than the reproductive age group. Okay, so what will happen in the future when these pre-reproductive individuals reach the reproductive stage, then there will be a growth in the population. So that's why this kind of age pyramids are known as growing age pyramids or triangular age pyramids. See why triangular? Because if you draw the points then you will get a triangle. Okay, you are getting a triangle like so. This is triangle shaped age pyramid or triangular. You may also say triangular age pyramid. Okay, now next type is your stable. Now what the stable means? Now which population is a stable population? Stable population means neither there is too much increase in the population nor there is a decrease. Okay, then what will happen, how will it happen? Okay, it will happen if the reproductive and the pre-reproductive age group individuals are more or less same in number. Okay, if the age group, if the pre-reproductive and the reproductive age group individuals are same in number, then we can say that the population is having a stable growth, or we can call it as the stable population. Okay, and in this scenario the age pyramid will look like urn shaped. Okay, urn means कलश जो होता है ना, कलश शेप का होगा. कलश क्यों बोल रहे, देखो ये हो गया कलश का ढक्कन और ये ऐसा करके आ जाएगा तो ये हो गया एक कलश. ठीक है, नाउ नेक्स्ट कम्स द डिक्लाइनिंग पॉपुलेशन. डिक्लाइनिंग मीन्स दैट पॉपुलेशन विच is having the fear of destruction. ठीक है, in the near future. Why? Because in this kind of declining population, what is happening? The pre-reproductive age group individuals are much lower in number. Okay, so if the pre-reproductive age groups are lower, then since just like this pre-reproductive is more, so more number of individuals will reach the reproductive age in the future, so more number of growth will be, more number of individuals will be added. But if the pre-reproductive age group individuals are lesser in number, then what will happen in the upcoming future? Less number of individuals will be added to the population and hence the growth will be at stake. Okay, such type is known as declining. Okay, and the shape of this particular age pyramid is known as bell shaped. What? Bell shaped. See, it more or less look like a bell. See here, this is the bell cap and this is the dandi. Okay, so I hope this age pyramid part is clear. Now next move to the next topic, which says population density or size. Okay, now population, the very first line you should remember, population size tells about its status in the habitat. Definitely compare the population size of human and lions. Okay, we will find humans are much more in population than that of lion. Okay, so we are the dominant group in this society. Okay, so lion का population हम लोगों से कम है. Okay, so that tells us that human are the so called master of this society or the habitat. Okay, so status of an population size will definitely tell the status of that particular species in the given habitat. Okay, now next, see, to study ecological, now population size is designated as, now how will you know what's the population size? कैसे पता चलेगा? The very first is population density. Go and count the number of heads. Okay, just like the census we have in every 10 years, 2011 we had, 2021, and then we will again have it on 2031. Okay, so that's the census. Okay, which happen every 10 years. Okay, so population, you can do it by this way. So that's population density means number of individual per unit area which are living. This is the most appropriate method. Okay, but just think yourself ki, is it possible to know ki how many fishes are there in a pond, how many fishes are there in river Ganga, ठीक है? No, it's not possible, ठीक है? So how can we estimate ki what is the population of fish in the river? We can estimate by this in these cases where it is impossible to find, or it is humongous to find the exact population size by counting the total number of heads. What we do, we consider the relative density, okay? We consider the relative density. So another way which says to how to calculate or estimate the population size, we have population relative density. Now what is relative density say, what relative density says, favorable, it is favorable in cases where it is not possible to count the entire population. अगर जिस जैसे कि हमने बोला कि it is not possible for us to calculate the fish population in the river, in the whole of river Ganga, ठीक है? So what we will do, we will measure it by fish caught per trap. Means what we will do, suppose we find that after fishing, after 20 fish traps, the amount of fish is getting suppose 100. So we will assume that 100 is the density of fishes, or 100 is the population of fish in that area or in that river or lake. Clear? So this is what relative density means. Okay, now next, moving to the pug marks or fecal pellets. Now see, there are some wild animals like lions, tigers, etc. And if we go and ask them to भाई खड़े हो जाओ हमको काउंट करना है, ठीक है? So we will be in heaven sitting nicely, ठीक है? So for them, those, for to count those wild animals, to estimate the population of such wild animals, what we need to do, we consider the pug marks and the fecal pellets. Fecal pellets means जो potty होता है उसका जो उसको देख के हम लोग वो एस्टिमेट किया जाता है, ठीक है? सो पग मार्क्स मीन्स जो फुट का जो प्रिंट होता है, वो जब मूवीज में, बहुत सारे मूवीज में आप लोग देखेंगे, सो वो उसको देख के भी हम लोग एक एस्टिमेशन लगा सकते हैं कि व्हाट इज द पॉपुलेशन साइज ऑफ दैट वाइल्ड एनिमल इन दैट वेरी एरिया, ठीक है? नेक्स्ट इज बायोमास और परसेंटेज कवर. एग्जाम्पल देखो, एग्जाम्पल इन एस्टिमेटिंग द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ ए पार्थेनियम और कैरेट ग्रास. सपोज करो you need to know which one is higher, a parthenium, which is a parthenium grass, or a banyan tree. So what you need to know, ki you can't go and count the number of banyan tree or the number of parthenium growing in the field, right? What you will observe, you will see how up to what extent the Parthenium is spreaded, ठीक है? Or up to what extent the banyan is spreaded. The more the extent, the higher is the biomass cover or the percentage area cover, ठीक है? So in this way, we can estimate the population size, okay? But keep in mind, the best and the appropriate method still is the population density, ठीक है? In case we can't calculate the estimate the population because of large size, large population size and all, then we will adopt the rest of the things, okay? Now see, next topic is factors affecting population size, which we more or less have a sense ki what can affect. The very first thing is food availability. Food availability is a definite criteria. Many places are there in Africa where the population is very very low. Why? Because of food and water availability, okay? Now next comes predator pressure. See, no one will say ki in the core region of the Sundarban area there are a lot of human populations. No, that's pathetic. Why? Because if you go there and stay, then the tigers living out there, Royal Bengal tigers, will have a nice dinner with you, okay? Now next comes the adverse weather. See, there are several islands in the Pacific or the Atlantic Oceans which face very severe storms and all, storms and natural calamities. So definitely no one would expect that the population of human population will be at a great number in those islands, right? So weather is another criteria, okay? Now see what is happening in Delhi. In Delhi, the air pollution is getting worse. So will it affect the human population? Yes, one day or the other it will definitely affect, because we humans cannot stay in such a highly air polluted area, in such a highly polluted area. Okay, so weather condition is a very very sensitive point to population size. Okay, now let's move to the next part, processes affecting population density. Definitely, first process we already know, natality or the birth rate. Now what it will have an impact on population density? It will increase the population. Simply, plain and simple, it will increase. For mortality or the death rate, what it will do? It will decrease the human population. इमिग्रेशन हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अगर आप कभी बहुत बड़े डॉक्टर होने के बाद आप बाहर जाएंगे, तो मीन्स आउट ऑफ इंडिया जाएंगे, तो यू नीड टू डू अ इमिग्रेशन पार्ट. नो, you first need to do immigration, then you need to do immigration. Immigration means exit and immi means entry. ठीक है, so immigration means what? It increases the population density. Suppose you are moving from India to England. Okay, so you emigrated from India and immigrated to England. So because of you, the population of India decreases by 1, and because of you, the population of England increases by 1. Since you went there, so immigration decreases, emigration decreases, and immigration increases the population density. I hope this is clear. Okay, now see, this is a pictorial representation. This is immigration. So population density, if immigration happens, then what will happen? The population size will increase, so it will have a positive impact on the population density. If immigration, E for exit, so if immigration happens, more number of individuals will leave that area or that country, so there will be a negative impact on the population size. Okay, similarly for birth or natality, what will happen? More numbers will be added, so in this scenario also they will have a positive effect. For death, definitely it will have a definite negative effect. Okay, now let's move to the next part. Suppose this is a formula. See, suppose at any time, let it be t, ठीक है, the population density be nt, ठीक है, and at time मान लो t plus 1, ठीक है, the population size be nt plus 1. So how many number of individuals are added or present at t n equal to nt plus 1 time? So it is nt plus 1, money the population in the future is equal to today's population plus birth plus immigration minus death plus immigration. Okay, now this, the difference of this birth natality or birth rate and immigration with the death rate, summation of death rate and immigration will give you the relative growth rate, कितना growth हुआ. ठीक है, now see, अंदर normal circumstances means अगर सब कुछ बहुत ठीक है, कोई problem नहीं है, कोई war नहीं, कोई calamity नहीं, कुछ नहीं. If these happens, two factors which influences this population density, what are they? First one is natality and second one is mortality. Definitely, if अगर ज़्यादा बच्चा पैदा होगा तो इट विल इंक्रीज पॉपुलेशन, अगर ज़्यादा लोग मर जाएंगे बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड-19 में जैसे हुआ, सो देयर विल बी इंक्रीज मोर्टेलिटी एंड सो द पॉपुलेशन साइज विल डेफिनेटली गेट डिक्रीज. ओके, now but the point comes when there is a certain specific circumstances, special circumstances, just like the war in Ukraine. ठीक है, so what is happening? A new area is being colonized or the new zone is being created, new war zone is created, new destruction is there. ठीक है, so in this scenario what is happening? Many people have been displaced from their original homes. ठीक है, so they had emigrated to different countries. ठीक है, they have emigrated to different places. So what is happening in that very scenario? I or E, I means emigration or immigration, both becomes very important as compared to birth rate or your mortality. Out of these two, if a special circumstances arises, then these things are very very important, which we, immigration and emigration are important, which will 100% affect the population size. ठीक है, after, for example, let's say after World War II, Europe was facing huge population crisis, mainly Germany and France. ठीक है, so because of the loss in youth, ठीक है, so they were at very crucial points in their history ki how will they manage this deficiency in this deficient in work load, you may say, ठीक है, because the population drastically reduced, ठीक है. So in that scenario they open up the invitation, they opens invitation for, you might be knowing that if you want to go and study in Germany, then you are getting it all free, sirf you need to know the German language a little bit, right? So why? Because they want to increase their population, which is not very मैंने वेरी तो छोड़ दो, मैंने वो अच्छा मैंने हाई वो लेवल पे नहीं है जिस लेवल पे होना चाहिए, ठीक है. नाउ नेक्स्ट कमिंग टू द, नाउ दैट्स इट फॉर टुडे. Now we shall be discussing these points with respect to our NCRT views. Okay, now see what NCRT says. Let's go to the lines of NCRT. Hope you are sitting with your NCRT books in hand. Now just mark these important points. See here, population attributes. NCRT says the term inbreeding. इनब्रीडिंग का मीनिंग क्या होता है? इट इम्प्लाइज सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन, अ ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल रिजल्टिंग फ्रॉम इवन, अच्छा, though inbreeding, though it means sexual reproduction, but NCRT says a group of individuals resulting from even asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? Reproduction in which there is no fertilization or there is no gamete formation. The only one parent is involved, ठीक है, like for example in case of budding, fragmentation, etc etc, ठीक है, is also, so such group of individual who had came from due to because of asexual reproduction also, they will also be considered as a population for ecological studies, ठीक है. For ecological studies we can consider them. Now what are the examples NCRT are giving for you to consider them as population? First is all the cormorants in a wetland. Cormorants means there, cormorants is a special type of bird with you may search it in Google and you will see it, ठीक है. So these birds plus rats in an abandoned dwelling, teak wood trees in a forest tract, bacteria on a culture plate, and lotus plant in a pond are examples of population. So keep this in mind, don't ignore it, because suppose in examination they ask you which of the following constitute a population. So when you will get this option ki rats in an abandoned dwelling, you will think yourself, अरे भाई ये क्या है, ये रैट्स, चूहा कहाँ से आ गया, चूहा ये कैसे पॉपुलेशन हो जाएगा. सो बेटर, इट्स बेटर टू नो ईच एंड एवरी लाइन ऑफ एनसीईआरटी. ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इज पॉपुलेशन इकोलॉजी, विच आई डिस्कस्ड yesterday's video only, कि population ecology is therefore an important area because it links ecology to population genetics and evolution. Okay, next कीप दिस इन माइंड, पॉपुलेशन का एट्रीब्यूट रहता है बट इंडिविजुअल का कोई एट्रीब्यूट्स नहीं रहता है. जैसे कि इंडिविजुअल हैव बर्थ एंड डेथ, आई एंड यू विल, हम लोगों का जन्म हुआ है, वी विल डाई समडे, ठीक है. बट द ह्यूमन पॉपुलेशन हैज व्हाट, बर्थ रेट एंड डेथ रेट. ऐसा नहीं है कि आफ्टर आवर डेथ मीन्स आफ्टर माई डेथ द ह्यूमन पॉपुलेशन विल finish up, ठीक है, that's not true, ठीक है. So a population has got birth and death rate, but an individual has only birth and death. Okay, next point is the sex ratio. Sex ratio means male to female ratio, ठीक है. So an individual have only sex means either he is a male or a female or a third gender, ठीक है. But a population has got this sex ratio in which the number of male to female ratio varies in different parts of the world. Okay, now see what is age pyramid. NCRT says if the age distribution percent individuals of a given age or age group is plotted for the population, ठीक है, the resulting structure is known as age pyramid, ठीक है. So first what we will do, we will have a census. After having a census, we will jot down all the data that how many of them belongs to 15 to 20, 30 to 40, and then we will plot it in a graph. And once we plot it in a graph, what we will find, we will find the particular nature of the age pyramid which is there in our land, ठीक है. Now so next, what are the shape of the age pyramids, whether it is growing, स्टेबल और डिक्लाइनिंग. ग्रोइंग होगा तो क्या होगा, ट्रायंगुलर शेप होगा एज पिरामिड. स्टेबल होगा तो क्या होगा, अर्न शेप होगा, कलश टाइप. एंड डिक्लाइनिंग होगा तो क्या होगा, वो हो जाएगा बेल शेप, ठीक है. नाउ नेक्स्ट, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट, सी द वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, द साइज ऑफ ह्यूमन पॉपुलेशन tells us a lot about its status, to which I discussed right now. ठीक है, just few minutes before. Now see the size in nature. See population का size बहुत बड़ा भी हो सकता है, बहुत कम भी हो सकता है. Example, population size can be as low as less than 10 in case of Siberian cranes at Bharatpur wetland in any year. Now what are these Siberian cranes? They are migratory birds. ठीक है, they are migratory birds. Migratory birds, ठीक है, they come from Siberia region because to prevent to escape from extreme of cold, ठीक है, and they return back once the cold winter atmosphere, winter weather in winter season in Siberia ends, ठीक है. Siberia is a very cold land, but still when it is winter it gets worse, ठीक है. So they migrate to India में भरतपुर जो राजस्थान में है उधर migratory आते हैं birds, and then they move back after the crisis season is over, ठीक है. Next see, it may the population size may go into millions. Example in chlamydomonas, or छोड़ो chlamydomonas, in case of bacterial growth only ना, it will get exponentially increased. The growth will increase exponentially 2 4 6 2 4 8 16 ऐसे करके ग्रो होगा, ठीक है. नाउ सी, अब क्या बोला है, पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी डेजिग्नेटेड एज एन नीड नॉट नेसेसरीली बी मेजर्ड इन नंबर्स ओनली. नंबर्स में जो हम अभी बोले थे वो स्लाइड में, ठीक है. ऑल्दो टोटल नंबर इज जनरली द मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट मेजर ऑफ पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी, it is in some cases either meaningless or difficult to determine. This is very important. Example देखो क्या बोल रहा है, if there are 200 carrot grass parthenium hysterophorus plants but only a single huge banyan tree with a large canopy, start stating that the population density of banyan is low relative to that of the carrot grass amounts to underestimating the enormous role of banyan tree in that community. Now what does it mean? Why is it so that that it is stating that the population density of banyan tree is low? Because of the percentage of the biomass cover, ठीक है, which I discussed, ठीक है. biomass cover इसका कम है banyan tree as compared to the parthenium grass. In such cases, see, they are telling the percentage cover of the biomass is a more meaningful measure of the population size. Important point. Okay, now next point, see, they are telling you total number is again not an easily adoptable measure, ठीक है, if the population is huge and counting is impossible, ठीक है. I hope you get this, ठीक है. Now next, for instance, the number of fish caught per trap is good enough to measure its population density in the lake, ठीक है. Now see population growth. Very first important point, the size of population is not a static parameter. It will not stay static. Either it will go up और इट विल गो डाउन और इट विल मेंटेन एट ए कांस्टेंट रेट. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक 100 है तो 100 ही रहेगा. इट मे गेट टू 120 or 30, it may get to 90 or 80, it may get to 105 104 103, पर ऐसा नहीं है कि वो स्टैटिक रहेगा ओवर द टाइम, ठीक है. इट विल हेल्प, इट कीप्स ऑन चेंजिंग विद टाइम डिपेंडिंग ऑन वेरियस factors including food availability, predation pressure and adverse weather. Okay, chalo, let's move to the next part. See, natality and all these are given. Natality refers to the number of birth during a given period in the population that are added to the initial density. Initial density माने population density. Mortality क्या होगा, वही number of death जो होगा during a particular period. And immigration, number of individuals who will leave the habitat or the place. Immigration, number of individuals, sorry उल्टा बोल दिए, आई एम वेरी सॉरी. इमिग्रेशन इज नंबर ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स हु विल एंटर, ठीक है. आई मीन्स एंटर एंड ई मीन्स एग्जिट. ई माने बाहर जाएगा तो एग्जिट, ठीक है. एंड सो see this graph which we discussed right over here, ठीक है. So if from anywhere you can do it, just remember it because it's important, ठीक है. Now this formula also we discussed. Now see what it tells, the population density will increase if the number of birth plus the number of immigrants is more. than the number of death plus the number of immigrants. So under normal conditions, what will happen? Birth and death are the most important factor influencing population density. The other two factors assuming importance only on the special conditions जो हमने बोला अभी, war like situation, ठीक है, और we had discovered some new place. Suppose आज अगर मून में हम लोगों को अगर लाइफ का ट्रेस मिल जाता है, ठीक है, तो मून में क्या होगा? मून में तो इमिग्रेशन ही होगा ना. ऐसा तो नहीं ना कि मून में नेचुरली कुछ बर्थ रेट स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. नो. सो वी विल मूव टू मून, ठीक है. सो देयर विल बी इमिग्रेशन. इन दैट सिनेरियो immigration will play a role in the population, in determining the population density of moon. Okay, so next part says, for instance, if a new habitat, so see just what I discussed, if a new habitat is just being colonized, immigration may contribute more significantly to population growth rather than birth. It's natural na. See, moon, we don't there is no life as per now, okay. So in the future, if there we discover some some traces of life, then our scientists will go there, will work there, okay. Many of us will may buy, already it is being sold as far as I know. तो उधर जाके रहेंगे हम लोग. तो immigrants इधर से उधर जाएगा, अर्थ से मून में जाएगा. So that's how the population size of moon will increase. Now in this part, there is no, or frankly speaking, very little role of birth rate or natality in determining the population size of moon, ठीक है. So I hope this part is of organism and population is clear. Today up to this next part, we will discuss the more topics related to this chapter. For the time being, keep studying, keep your NCRT with you. Just focus on NCRT and read and read and read NCRT. Okay, chalo, bye.